Shane, thank you so much for joining me on the Belize Digest. Where are we talking to you at? It looks like you have some palm trees in the background.
Yeah, I'm in Placencia in Belize.
Very cool. Give us a brief overview of what you do there. A lot of our viewers won't know you. What's your story?
So about 3 years ago, my wife and I moved down to Placencia, Belize, and opened Placencia Beach Club. So we're essentially a day use place. People come to use the pool, the beach. We have restaurant, bar, swim up bar in the pool. Don't currently have any rooms, but we're getting ready to work on that. And then so really people come from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. and just hang out in the pool and relax for the day.
That sounds ideal.
Yeah, I wish I got to join them actually more than work.
But you have to make it happen for them. That's very cool. Well,
Exactly.
you're in touch with the tourism and economy and flights and everything in Belize because of your line of work. Then, so let's just start talking about those subjects. And we talked a little bit about this before we actually recorded this. So I know you've got some topics you want to cover, and I want to get to the new flights first. It's always important to get back and forth to a place. What's going on the flight front?
Yeah, we've been really excited this year. Like a lot of airlines have started up. Like we've got some new West Coast routes. So Alaska Air is flying, I think once a week now from LAX straight to Belize. Um, and then during the high season, so kind of in that November to May kind of time frame,
Yeah,
they're flying from Seattle as well. And so that's been great. We've been getting new West Coast tourists that we haven't really seen before here in Placencia.
cool.
So opening up kind of new markets for us, that's always exciting. And then we got news in the last couple of weeks that Air Canada and WestJet are going to start flying from Canada again. And so starting in December, Air Canada will be flying from Toronto straight to Belize City. And then WestJet will fly in November from Toronto and Calgary straight down here. So again, reopening up that Canadian market for us. It's been hard for the last several years
Right.
to get people in from.
That has got to be good news for you guys. So let's just talk a little bit about tourism. Lobster Fest is back on, right?
Yeah, so this year, full Lobster Fest for San Pedro, Keycalker, and Placencia were back on, and from everything I've heard, they went very well everywhere. I know the Placencia one was extremely busy this year. A lot of people just happy to have, I think, just happy to be able to do anything, regardless if it's Lobster Fest or Conch Fest or Banana Fest or whatever else fest is going on out there.
And I'm going to assume that lobsters are involved in Lobster Fest, but what kind of a deal is it?
So it's different in each area actually. So San Pedro does a little bit more of like features a location every night or every day. And then Key Calker and Placencias are kind of more similar, where they kind of have a central entertainment area where there's the stage and there's bars and vendors set up and things like that. And so yeah, lots of lobster involved and lots of beer.
Well, since you mentioned beer, you've got more than just Bellican to rely on now, right? I
Yeah,
hear you've got a craft brew that you can.
yeah, we were super excited about a year ago. A new craft beer by the name of 2-5. So it's TWO-5. So 2-5 is Creole for a good friend. So the idea is take your 2-5 for a 2-5. They opened up and they run about 5 different beers at a time on draft. And so we're super excited to have that now in the country. So now, depending on where you are, there's places you can get that. San Pedro has it, Key Calker has it. We have it here in Placencia at a couple places. And so if beer drinkers are around the world, we're cheering that now there's more than just Bellican and Bellican Light and Bellican Stout to drink.
Not that there's anything wrong with Bellican. I've spent weeks drinking Bellican before, and no worse for the wear. But it's always nice to have a choice.
Yeah, variety is always nice for
Variety
sure.
is always nice. Um, let's get to some of the more nuts and bolts stuff. There is a new visa or a new visa type thing in Belize for digital nomads. Am I correct?
Yeah, and I thought this was interesting to bring up with you today because I think it lends itself to kind of try before you buy kind of situation for people who might be thinking about moving to Belize. And so you can get this, they're calling it work from where you vacation visa. I believe it's good for 6 months, and you can apply online. And the idea is you pay one time, you don't have to go back every 30 days to immigration and get your visa stamp renewed. And it kind of waives the need for work permits, which traditionally you need to have here in order to work.
Hmm.
And so they're kind of giving a nod to those digital nomads. So I mentioned, try before you buy kind of situation. So now you could come down for up to 6 months, do a work where you vacation from, and kind of live for a couple of months here, make sure it's a good fit for you before you take the full plunge.
Which is always a good idea, to stay someplace longer than your usual vacation to find out if it's really the place for you.
Yeah, and if people are interested in more information on that, travelbelize.org
Mhm.
is the place to visit. That's the one of the BTB managed websites. Has a lot of great information on like what the requirements are, what you have to provide in the way of documentation, how to apply for it.
Travelbelize.com
.org.
or .org, travelbelize.org. Write
Yes.
that down. Let's talk about travel and some of the requirements. You made a note about State Department travel advisory. Has that changed for Belize?
I actually downgraded it, and I didn't realize that till I started, doing some research. We always get notices when they upgrade it, but we don't seem to get the notices when they downgrade it. And so right now, from a State Department, we're on what they call level 2, which is just exercise extreme caution. And from a tourist business standpoint, these always frustrate us, because they'll issue a high level a high level of caution for travelers, because there is a decent amount of gang-related violence on the south side of Belize City. Well, that's
Yeah.
not where you're going to visit. There's no reason to be visiting there if you're in Belize as a tourist, or even really an expat, to be honest with you.
Right.
And so they always frustrate us because it puts people on edge. But it would be kind of like saying, don't visit the U.S. because Chicago has a lot of violence. We
Right.
all know, like, you can go to Chicago and be perfectly safe, as long as you avoid the areas that are known for having a lot of violence. And it's the same thing here. And so if you're going to come and go to any of the touristy kind of areas, even some of the inland areas are becoming a little bit more common, like San Ignacio and places like that, you're not going to have any problems.
Right. And as we know, the State Department also always errs on the side of caution. They like to
Yeah.
give you too much warning rather than not enough. So they commonly err on that side.
Yeah. So we're at level 2 right now, which is actually, we were level 3 for a long time through COVID and um, through that kind of time of the last couple of years. And so to see that we're back down to a level 2, that was pretty exciting today.
Well, let's talk about COVID. It's the elephant in the room, for the past 2 or 3 years. Everybody I talk to, what is the latest COVID update for Belize? Travel restrictions related items.
So there's no travel restrictions at this point. And so just come and go as you please. I know there was some requirements for insurance for a while. There was masking requirements. There was vaccination or testing requirements. That's all kind of gone out the window now. So I like to just say Belize is business as usual at this point. And like, what COVID? I don't know what you're talking about. No COVID. I actually looked today just to be at the latest, and there's 247 active cases in the entire country. And that equates to, if my math is right, about 6 out of 10,000 people actively have COVID right now that we know about. So it's not that it doesn't exist, but you're probably
Same as
safer here than
same as everywhere else around the world. I mean, COVID has just become something that we live with. It goes up and down. There are more cautions, less cautions, but sooner or later you have to get back to business as usual. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's really exciting for us is we're seeing, especially here in Placencia, we're seeing an elongated tourist season. So normally the week after Easter is when we kind of see a pretty steep fall off, and we're seeing, our business here at the beach club, we're seeing almost busy season level numbers these weeks, and we're halfway into August.
Why is that? What do you attribute that to? Just pent up demand from the years that people haven't been able to travel?
So we attributed it to two things, just talking to guests that have been here at the beach club. The first is there is that pent-up demand. I think they call it revenge travel, is one of the ways that it's kind of said. I think the other thing is people, especially Americans, learned that, like, if you want to do something, you need to do it, because you're not guaranteed that you're going to be allowed to do it tomorrow.
Right.
They kind of shut the world down for 8 months or longer. And I think a lot of people just started to realize, like, if I want to travel, I'm going to do it.
Right.
And a lot more people are working remotely. So now you can come to Belize, spend a week or two here, do your work in the morning and vacation in the afternoon. And so I just think that it's changed the way, I'm hoping permanently changed the way people travel. So we have like a longer season now.
Right. Right. Or spend 6 months on the new visa if you
Oh,
want, if you're a
exactly.
digital nomad.
Yeah, there's actually a group that here in Placencia that rents out one of the hotels on the northern end of the peninsula, and just caters to expats. I mean, to digital nomads.
Digital
Uh,
nomads.
yeah, and so they do, like, they plan activities, and there's a room in, like your room's included in the price and all this kind of stuff. I think they even help you with the documentation and visa requirements.
We need to find out more about that. And
Yeah,
I'll do a little research. You do a little research and we'll talk about it next time we talk.
yeah, for sure.
Very cool. Shane, thank you so much for joining me today. This is good news about Belize. Anything you want to add? What's your 50,000 foot view as an expat doing business in Belize about the near future here?
We're really excited about it. I mean, real estate is flying off the shelves here. We're getting ready to build some rooms at the place. A lot of building going on in the area, so a lot of progress. Just seems like the future is bright now that we're past the COVID issues.
Beautiful. And your weather looks okay too.
Yeah, we're actually in the middle of rainy season, so it kind of comes and goes, but it's great today.
Brilliant. Shane, thanks so much, man. I'll catch up with you later. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks for talking.
Bye.